How's everybody doing? This is Clifton Raheem Bradley from out of Chicago. You know what? I'm being bombarded by people to play something over again. I've never been bombarded on live stream to ask me to play a video, a videotape, a live television show, internet show again about Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford. And people that don't know who Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford are, they're leaders of the I'm not gonna say Black Panthers because you know what, that's disinformation. The Gangster Disciples, okay, and Jeff Ford of the L. Rookers, they're locked in jail right now. And there's going to be a concert with Kanye West um, to try to get them released from jail to raise up enough money. And you know what? They were street gangs, and it's a lot of people believe they still have power on the streets. You know what? And I believe that too. But no further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and just play the video because you asked for it. You know what? It wasn't something that I was expecting. I was not expecting it. So let me quit talking and just get on to the point. Okay. That's what I'll do. I'll get on to the point. Okay. What's everybody doing? Assalamu alaikum. This is Clifton Raheem Bradley from out of the United States of America. I'm in Chicago, USA. We'll say hi to the people in the USA, Canada, Mexico, Central America, Europe, Asia, Africa. And sure I'm leaving somebody out. And probably wondering, what is this guy doing up here? This guy has two pictures behind him right now. You know, these are what you would call is gang leaders that once upon a time played an integral part in Chicago. You know, they played an integral part. And one is Larry Hoover, who was leader of the Gangster Disciples. That was a gang. First of all, I'm not affiliated. And he controlled a whole lot of people that were on the streets. He did. And there was Jeff Ford. Jeff Ford is on that side. Got that right, on that side. And Larry Hoover's on that side. And he was the leader of the L. Rookers that was in Chicago. And you know what? This is criminal activity that took place. They ran a criminal empire. Yes, they did. But you know what? I believe that the enterprises that they did run, because you know it takes some type of genius to run an enterprise. Plus, you got all type of people behind you that are playing games, striving to manipulate and things like that. But the thing is, I believe that they should let them out of jail. You know, I believe they should let them out of jail. And you're probably saying, why? Why would we want gang members back on the streets? Why? We're doing everything that we can to lock them up. And the ones that we do lock up, to reform them and to come back into the society and live meaningful lives and contribute to the society. But often what happens is once you go in prison, sometimes you just become worse off than what you were because you're learning from a multitude of people inside of the prison, and all type of horrible things can happen. You know, you can get beat up, you can get punched, you can get initiated into a gang. You don't have to be in a gang. Then you have to pay off every other gang and leave you alone, and all that. You know, and they can take your manhood. But you know what? But I'm advocating, me and other people, unless somebody is ready to call up and do a show with him, advocating to release both of them. I say, why? Why? Because I believe that the structure within Chicago that is doing everything that they can to minimize the criminal activity, I believe they're failing. They're failing. You know what? I think it's about them getting the grant money. You know what? Non-for-profit organizations get grant money. They get the grant money, and after they get the grant money, they act like they can. And some of them are sincere. They are sincere. But like I say, Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford, that is locked up right now, they have control over gangs, some gangs in Chicago. They do. They still have control. Because you know what? I went to I was invited. You know what? I was invited. It was just surprising to me. I went to Larry Hoover's mother's passage to her funeral. You know, I was invited there by a brother named Red Ross. And you know what? I wasn't gonna go, but I said, no, you know what? Let me go. Let me go and pay my respects, even though I never knew her. Never knew her. I never knew her. And the thing is, I went there. I was just amazed. I was just amazed. I'm telling you, it was mind-boggling to me of how many people were at that funeral. Man, you had people coming from the East Coast, the West Coast, and I said, "Wow, you know what they told me? They still have a lot of respect for Larry Hoover, for Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford. They still have a lot of respect for him." Yes. But like I say, that was Larry Hoover's mother that died. And I said to myself, you know what? If you want to comment. You know, you might have a comment that you have something you want to say. You might say, man, brother, what's wrong with you? Because you know something. When I looked at the influence that and the respect that they had at coming to Larry Hoover's mother's funeral, homegoing, I said, damn, you know what? They still control people out on the streets. Man, they are powerful. But I believe that, you know what, that they just may have the ability to stop somebody for pulling a trigger. I believe that. But see, you didn't go to the funeral. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that they may have I believe in my heart they may have the influence to tell somebody, you know what, this is not the way to go. This is not what to do. You don't do this.
I don't know. I know
Get you
about blues, but
home.
I don't know
And
about
somebody just think, man, what is wrong with this brother? Okay. He's talking about letting two leaders get out. Gangbangers get out from the street. How? 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 Why, Cliff, what is wrong?
I mean,
Because
I would rather use
I
that way.
believe
It wouldn't make any difference.
that Jeff Ford and Larry Hoover, I believe that both of them, they can influence a group of people and youth
Yes, I do.
that is on a destructive path, possibly pulling the trigger. Say, you know what? Lay down your guns. This is over. This is over. You know what? I think that they can motivate them to. I think that they can motivate them to go back to school, to get an education. You know what? To. I guess it's a different thing. The reason I'm saying is there are people out there that are motivating the people right now. They're motivating them to do good. But you know what? They can only reach a certain segment of the population because you know what?
Okay, can I ask
They
you a
have
question?
been
I
in the
sent you on one
streets.
for the video so you can change that. Because
And you probably say, oh, it's
I
okay
didn't
what
know.
it is.
So,
But then
so I
I'm
sent
not
it in, you know
contradicting myself because the thing
you got ability
is,
to change that. That would be fine.
the thing is,
Oh, okay.
they,
Okay.
you know, I was talking with somebody. They said, man, listen, they said, man, you know what? What are you talking about, Club? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Because they can influence. That's like me. I can influence somebody in video production. First of all, I want to say thank you for all of the people, you know what, that have helped me in video production, from Hyde Park, from Mr. Cunningham to Miss Pugh to Donnell Glover. They can, you know what, I was mentored by them, and they're people I was influenced
It's the
by my
documentation
mentors
that
in the streets
I was
and
talking
in
about
school to do what was positive and what was right in regards to video production. Say one thing, you know what, I want to thank
so
all of the
people were
that
already diagnosed
gave
with
me
bipolar.
donations and helped me in my endeavor to develop myself in video production. I'm going to call my guests while I'm on air. But I guess that's okay. You know what?
I don't know if y'all heard that.
Yeah, hello. I'm waiting on this brother to come on
Yeah,
in, my
I'm
brother.
just concerned. Just don't want to see the whole thing.
No,
I'm not going to
all you
talk
got
very
to
much.
do is press on the link,
I just
give
rather get into it.
your permission
I don't know.
to use your microphone and give the permission to use your webcam. That's all you got to do. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's the guest I'm talking to. Okay. All right. Thank you. That's the guest. Sometimes you know what, when you're doing live streams like this, thing is happening because you know something. Your apparatus or your device works different from mine. And you know what? Once you get used to doing something, it like becomes second nature to you. Second nature. Yes, hello. I'm waiting on you to call in, my brother. Okay. Oh, you calling in? Well, I got a brother right now that has a question right now. And you know what? That's why my telephone is up there. So, brother, if you got a question, and like I say, all you got to do is hit the link, and you can join. You can join in. So, you got something you want to ask? How you doing? Hello? Yes. Okay. Okay. There's a link. I will put it on. What's your face? What is your Facebook address? Okay, so you spell that for me. Okay. Doing it right now. It's
I
right there.
know I've been called.
Okay, I did it like about 5 times. I'm
This
talking
is
to
a
you
long,
yesterday.
you know
There it
what?
is. It's
I remember when I filed,
and
it
I
was
put
just
it
a
on your
long
page.
process.
Okay, I put it. You know. Okay, I put it on your page again. Okay, there it is. I put it on your page.
Well, man, I
Facebook
thank you
might be
very
blocking you.
much.
You know how Facebook, they might be blocking you. I just put it on your page. Okay, the link. Okay, all right. Okay, thanks. So you know what? I was talking to the guests in between. Let me say something though. This is a live show. Okay, and you know what? Their apparatus doesn't work like mine. My apparatus does not work like theirs. So therefore, they might have to go through certain changes to call up. I might like if that, and if I was trying to get in contact with them, they're used to they're used to their program. I'm getting used to this program, but it was a time like Dr. Khalid Muhammad of the Nation of Islam said, I used to be stumbling and fumbling and doing all of it, But now I'm getting better and better. But I want to say a quick thank you to the people that have helped me to develop this platform by sending donations. And this platform should get better and better. But you know what? But I must get the message out to the people that have helped me. If it's one or two that appreciates what I do and they send a donation to my PayPal account, I'm going to strive to make this platform much better than what it is right now. You know what? And I say that humbly, all praises due to Allah, because I most certainly should not think more of myself than what I am, because I know that my creator is not happy with me. But getting back of religion, I'm saying humbly that I say that Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford, both of them, I believe that they can come out given the opportunity to command the people that are under their leadership to do what is right, to stray away from evil. As I said earlier, the thing is, my mentors can often influence me to do things that I would not have done under normal circumstances. Wouldn't have done it. And you know what? I wouldn't even have considered it. I wouldn't be sitting where I am right now, if I didn't have people that showed me a better way. And I believe that they can show the people a better way. And I believe, I might say I'm naive. I don't know. It's okay. It's okay if you say I'm naive. You know what? But I guess you could say, and I'm, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful because I live in Chicago. And you know what? I see killing going on in Chicago every weekend. I'm not going to say I see. What I mean is that I hear about little children getting killed. And you know what? That's not a good thing. That is not a good thing. And you know what? The guests, you know what I wonder? I wonder if my guests are being blocked by an entity that I have no control. Because you know what's strange? What's strange is, let me share this with y'all. I sent both of them a website link, and all they had to do was tap on the link. You know what? To give their microphones the permission and give their audio the permission, and they come right in. But there may be somebody that has the power to say, you know what? We're not going to let this message get across. We're just not. And the people that had testimonies about to reinforce what I believe and what this show is about, they were not able to get in because I spoke to them. Okay. Now, see, believe in conspiracies. I mean, the NSA exists. They exist, and they, you know what? They're listening to telephone calls. They're monitoring the internet. They know everything. So that is a possibility. That's a possibility. Okay, but it's just ironic that two people get the same information and they cannot get into this broadcast. What is it? Because I am talking about Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford getting out of jail. You know, asking them what do they think in regards to the issue. Who knows? You know, and you never can say they may be doing what their leadership told them to do. I say, you know what? Like you gonna come in, but you're not gonna come in because you know what? I've worked this apparatus a long time, and you know what? This platform has made it so simple. It is simple. It's just simple to get in. But like I said, well, I mean, what is your take on it? Do you think that they should let Larry Hoover they should let they should let Jeff Ford out of jail? Should they let him out? Should they let him out? Should they? You know what? There's the link in the chat room. And you know what? I'm going to share this. And you know what? Come on and join me in the chat room. Join me. Join the broadcast. Join us at this web site. Okay, the link is right there where you can join me. Join me. I'm having a little fun now by acting like that. But you can join me in this website. There might be somebody else you know who join us, brother. You don't want to join them. And I'm going to share this. I'm going to share this on YouTube. So I'm gonna ask you something like, does that sound wrong to you when I'm saying they should let out somebody? Because you know what, one thing, you know, they were in the progress of doing something. They started something called Push. And what happened is they were going to put games into political positions. And you know what? but the federal government came down on them. So if this does not sound right to you, because I had some brother that said, you know what, man, there's too many positive role models to put these brothers back on the streets. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I do not agree with that. But if I'm wrong, just let me know. Let me know. Talk to me. Okay. This is how. Let me know if I'm wrong. Okay. But you got people like I believe. You know what? I also believe. I believe that there are some brothers out there that say that they want Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford to get out of jail. But in their hearts, I'm talking about there may be people that are beholding to Jeff Ford and Larry Hoover. But they say to themselves, you know what? I'm gaining, I'm benefiting. And you know what? If they got out of jail, I could lose my power. But that would be hard to that would be hard to see if you was locked up, because you're locked up in your mind. But I think that there's some people that they may hold dear to their hearts, and they may hold high self-esteem that they think is working on their better behalf. They're working behind their backs and making it appear as though they want them released from prison. But in their hearts, I don't believe they feel that way. You know what? And I can say some examples, but I'm not going to say any examples because I am not affiliated. I'm not affiliated. And you know what? I'm not affiliated, so therefore, I'm not going to say that. But like I say, the L. Rookins they're alive in Chicago, Illinois, in the United States of America, and they're a very powerful organization. But you know what? But these two people behind me, the enormous organization, and they still call the shots today. They call the shots. They call the shots. And you know what? That's the way it is. So, like, if you want to call up and you got a question, please call me. My telephone number is 773-416-7555. You know what? Something that I was remembering something that once upon a time, that Jeff Ford, he helped Mayor Daley get votes. He helped them get votes. Okay, but people that just don't read, they don't know. Okay, they don't. And Mayor Daley used to belong to a gang called the Hamburgers. Okay, but none of their leaders really went to jail. Michael Madigan, according to what I read, used to be the Speaker of the House for Illinois. He belonged to the Hamburgers, and Mayor Daley belonged to the Hamburgers. Former Alderman Jones told me that. He said it's a lot that people just don't know because they don't read. They don't read, and I thank Randy Evans for that. So, like I say, if you want to leave something in the chat room, beautiful. Leave it in the chat room. Leave it. And like I say, there's a lot that's going on. There's a whole lot that's going on. That's what I will tell you. There's a lot that's going on. And I I look at, you know what, I was looking at something. Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford. Okay, they had some of their people sell marijuana. You know what's strange to me? Everything, just about everything that was illegal is legal now. It's legal. Interesting to me. Here it is. Now they put one aspect that's involved about Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford going to jail. Some of their people sold drugs. Okay, I got it. I understand it. But here it is. You know what's interesting? It was bad. It was bitter. It was wrong. But legally, now, you could buy marijuana. You could buy marijuana right now. Right now, I'm talking about legally. But they arrested people that sold marijuana. And you know what? That's interesting. But it was bad. It was evil. It was that. And you know what? Used to run gambling houses. Once upon a time. And it was illegal. But you know what? They got the boats. They got scratch offs. They got bingo that they play in church. They got all this. You know what? It's legal now. But you lock them up for that. And I ain't gonna say Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford was into selling opioids. Okay, but it was so evil. It was a vice. Now it's legal. Now, talking about killing somebody. That, you know what? That's wrong. Okay? That is wrong. Killing somebody. But you know what? Police officers, you know what? This is a fact. This is not fictitious. This is not something that I have just made up. It's not grandiose. I just made this up. They have done things. And you know what? Even by mistake. And you know what? Things happen by mistake. Okay? And you know what? They kept their jobs. They didn't get locked up. Okay? So the same things that you accusing these brothers of, okay, society has done the same thing. They've done the same thing. Okay, but you lock up Larry Hoover, the leader of the GDs, the gangster disciples, and you lock up Jeff Ford, the leader of the L. Rookins that used to be of the Peace Stone Nation. Okay, there are all type of other gangs of different nationalities that
Thanks, brother.
hate. Okay? And you know what? The society didn't bat an eye to us saying, you know what? Let's round up these gangs, these groups that support hate. I'm not gonna call no group because you know what? Everybody knows. You know what? People of knowledge know what I'm talking about. They know what I'm talking about. You didn't think about that. That's like Kirk. There was a congressman in Illinois. I think his name was Kirk, and he said, you know what we're gonna do is we're going to start people that belong to the GDs and the gangster disciples. We're going to start rounding them up and impounding them, taking their money, send them to jail. But I never heard him bat an eye about groups. There's groups within Chicago. There are groups that practice hate. And I'm not practicing hate. All I'm doing is giving an observation. Okay? Because you know what? I can read. I mean, damn it, I may not be the best reader in the world, but I can read. Okay, but I never heard him say anything about rounding up groups that were hateful towards other nationalities, other groups that want to ostracize because they happen to hold a different ethnic background. Never heard him say that. I never heard him say that. But you rounded them up. You know, I gotta, and you know what? For the Latin kings out there, I want to in Chicago. I want to share about y'all one thing. You know what? When the COVID went on in Chicago, okay. One thing y'all did, y'all protected the businesses in Chicago. I'm talking about with the Latino, a lot of minority Latinos live on the side of California in Chicago. And you know what? They protected. They said, "Oh no, you won't tie this down. You won't tie this down." But you know what? I was astonished in Chicago during the COVID. There were so many black businesses that, man, I mean, the black businesses just, a lot of businesses were lost. But you know what I noticed? One thing about the mayor of Chicago. I noticed. And you know what? I read and I can observe, okay? The protection that they have for downtown Chicago, where commerce is, businesses, they were protected. Where? And there was minimum damage did opposed to the inner city on the west side and south side and all that. And I wondered to myself, what's going on? Because you know what? It's almost like you get better protection on the north side of Chicago opposed to the south side and the west side of Chicago. Now, that's known. That's known. That's not an accusation. That's a fact. I hate to use the word that John Belushi made. That's a fact, Jack. Okay. So the thing is, brother got a question. Look, I don't think it's wise to let a horse out and lead the buggy because the buggy is lost. Okay. You don't think it's wise. You don't think it's what? Think it's wise. You know why I think it's wise? Because you got young boys out there that are walking down with their pants pulled down to their butt. And you know what? And carrying guns. If they can stop one person from pulling the trigger, it's not worth letting them out. If they make a pledge, if they do anything that is criminal, heinous in this society and culture, you know what? You're going right back to jail. You're going right back. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, I'm gonna read so y'all can see. I respect the Latinos sticking together and protecting the neighborhood. In my opinion, the reason why many races don't deal with blacks of culture is issues not just race. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. You know, the one problem I have, you know what? I love that the Latinos stick together. I love it. It's just too bad that blacks don't stick together. One thing that kind of bothers me, now this is my observation, this is opinion, this is not a hateful opinion. I think that, you know what, when they see, I'm not going to say, you can't say all, a segment. When they see black issues that are going on, they're not fast to jump on the bandwagon. But when something goes on in their community, I don't even think they expect us to jump on the bandwagon. But if we work together as a coalition and understand that we're all fighting each other, and the big man is looking upstairs and just laugh. Tell y'all a quick story. I'm not gonna say it's a metaphor, it's a story. You know what? Once upon a time, there were people at the bottom, and you know what? They were figuring out. You know what? It's the people at the top. We got to get to. And you know what? The man at the top told the other rich man, "Hey man, you know what? They on their way up." So, you know what the rich man did? The rich man did. He said, "Brother, I'll show you how to handle that." He reached in his pockets and pulled a pocket full of pennies and threw it down where they are, and they all went down. And they started fighting each other all over. And you know what? I think that's how it is with the crown. That's how I think it is. That's how I think it was. I don't want to say nothing about Obama, but I think that before President Obama got in, everybody was frustrated. Everybody was getting upset. People were starting to realize about the real power sitting at the apex, at the top, the rich, the powerful, and the elite. And along comes President Obama. You know what? I'm not going to tie down on that. You know what? There's some things that he did that I didn't really care for. But you know what? But this is not the topic of the day. But you know what? But I commend him. He's a family man. And you know what? And he never got caught in any scandals. He didn't do anything that was disrespectful. He didn't do anything. And he was an inspiration to a lot of people. But the thing is, it didn't really affect me like that, because the thing is, I believe because, you know what? I believe because it didn't affect me in a way. Oh no, we got a black man. You know what? And which is good. I love to see my brother rise. But the thing is, I had a role model at home. I had a father. I had Captain Bradley Jr. at home. Captain Bradley left. I had role models. Now, I took wrong turns, but President Obama didn't. I wasn't mesmerized by that positive image. You know what? Actually, I was used to it. But you know what? By not saying it, I'm not gonna put him down. It was just, you know what? There were policies that he made that I didn't agree with. But that's for another show. But you know what? But getting back to Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford, they are in jail for the rest of their life. You see a broken wagon. You said something about a broken wagon. I say a broken clock. That'll be my example. Even a broken clock is right 2 times out of the day. And I do believe that they were given the opportunity. To come out, to change, help to modify, and correct, and change the behavior pattern of a few that are not going to listen to the preacher, they're not going to listen to the imam, they're not going to listen to the rabbi, they're not going to listen to the priest. They can change somebody's life and they can stop somebody from pulling the trigger. But not only that, they can not only save that person, but they can save a whole generation. That I believe. I believe that. Now that, but you know what? But you have every right in the world to disagree with me. But I'm telling you, the things that they made wrong, things that have been wrong in society, they have made it in the right. Again, going back to what I said, drugs, illegal opioids, marijuana, alcohol. Hell, it used to be prohibition. Okay, Bugsy Siegel and Al Capone. Okay, but the thing is, they didn't throw everybody in the mob in jail. Okay, I'm saying the things that they have made legal, illegal things that were illegal are legal. So where's their justification? Where's their justification? Where's their justification? I'm gonna read this. Okay, I agree. I understand and respect your viewpoint. In my opinion, culture consists of history, tradition, codes of conduct, and blood lineage and identity. I told you. I told y'all I'm y'all might put a word up there that's too long. But you know what? What the brother is saying, you have a people. You gotta sound like I'm from the Nation of Islam that have been stripped of their culture, of their religion, of their culture, and educate. And you know, people that have been stripped of all that. What do you expect? But there's no excuse, I think, for doing that. And I guess I believe that's my mindset. I believe you can make it in America. I believe it. I believe that with all my heart. I hear people sit up and say, you know what, you just can't make it. You know what, they hurt somebody because of the household that they came from. I don't understand that, because you have to know that it's wrong. You have to have a conscience, because damn it, you hide when the police or the constable comes around, or the village leader comes around. You hide. So you have to know that you did wrong. You have to know that. And it's mind-boggling to me. I think you ought to be able to make it in America. But you got to remember, I'm the one that had a mother and father. You know, not trying to get no link card. I'm trying to beat the system. So that's why probably my mindset is just totally different. You can make it in America. So I say to all the young boys out there that got your gun and you thinking about snuffing somebody out, don't do it. Don't do it. Because you know what, you have to live for that, live with that for the rest of your life. But the main reason is your creator will not be pleased with you. Okay? Don't say you don't believe because when something goes wrong, you holler mama, and you holler God when something goes wrong. So don't tell me that. Don't tell me. I know. I've been out there in the streets just a little, not that much. I've been out there in the streets. So letting Jeff Ford out and letting Larry Hoover out of jail would be a benefit to the society. And like I said, there are millions of people that's going to agree with me. There's millions of people that, you know what, do agree with me. And you know what, there's like a drive or something to, they have some type of drive. I was trying to get the brother on to talk about it, to try to get Larry Hoover out. And like I said, Jeff, they, you know what, one thing I know, that when they were on the streets, you hear about all these children getting killed. It was some type of code of ethics, even though it was wrong as people's view. But you know what? They didn't kill no kids. From what I understand. And you know what? And if you did kill kids, it was going to be a repercussion. Both of these guys were coming after you. All they had to do is put Chief Malik and all these other people, all they had to do is just put the word out on the streets, and you was going to pay. But it wasn't that. Selling drugs around the school. First of all, I ain't selling no drugs. Okay. But hey, everything that they did that you say is illegal, you made legal. You turned around and turned the society, you turned around and made it into a right anyway. So the people, the proponents that turned around and made all of this right and voted it in the law. You know what? Opioids, marijuana, alcohol, gambling. Should they go to jail? Should they go to jail? Okay. You know what? You got something in the chat room. I agree that it would be a benefit to let Jeff and Larry out of jail because they believe in order. In my opinion, the reason why Black Wall Street was destroyed because of an economical independence. Yeah, absolutely. Economical. I believe that they would. Y'all read that at the bottom. Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad. You know what, man? You smart. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. See, there's certain people that are benefiting from people being locked up. They benefit. The lawyers benefit. The judge benefits. The concrete people benefit. The toothpick people benefit. The people that with commissary, where you get ramen noodles, they benefit. Snickers benefits. And they sell that stuff for so much, and they benefit. So you know what they say? Crime doesn't pay. Crime does pay. It pays. It pays the lawyers. It pays the warden. It plays oodles and noodles. The soup for people that don't know that you could buy in the commissary. Okay? Whatever you could buy in the commissary. Telephone people. They charge more to make telephone calls. All of this, they benefit. They benefit from putting you inside a, what do you call it? I was going to say prison, but let me use a little fancy word. Prison industrial complex. Okay. And at some point, I believe, damn it, that's the only way we're going to be able to compete with China in terms of manufacturing, because we can't beat them at manufacturing if they're paying their people $20 or $30 a day. So they're gonna, at some point, they're going to start using these prisoners to mass produce and start to sell in the United States. I'm talking about on a grand scheme. But you know what? I learned something about the prison. I didn't know that right now. You know, I had a partner named Brother Boys Yelps. He has a television show that comes on. He used to have a television show that comes on Can Television. I didn't know that you could invest in the stock market. I got a call and somebody might have a comment. Yes. Hello. You know what? It's saying join. You have to give the camera permission, and you have to give the audio permission. You have to. You have to give it permission. If you don't give it permission, it's not gonna work. Okay. All right. So I was saying something about the prison industrial. You know what? I lost train of thought. But you know what? I'd say something about Joe Biden. Fox Television kills. You know what? Because I look at Fox Television just to hear what others. They say he's forgetting. You know what? You keep on living. We gonna all forget. Because you know what? Sometimes I might lay my keys down and might forget where I put it at, and I might have just put it there a minute. It's okay. You know what? I talk about Joe Biden. 1 minute. I want to give Joe Biden a clout. I think that he's a good man. And you know what? I appreciate that he is not listening to the naysayers and the people that want him to go on the other course. I appreciate it. You know what? Fox Television, Sean Hamilton, this Mr. Cost. Y'all cannot rattle him. And you know what? He's probably somewhere laughing. But knowing him, he's got enough class not to probably don't care nothing. He probably doesn't care nothing about it one way or the other. But you know what? Getting back, I will say this about Joe Biden. You know what? And you know what? I would say Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford, they can motivate. There was an infrastructure plan passed by Joe Biden. They can motivate gang members. Hey, go back to school. We're going to use technology. We're going to learn about the land. We're going to learn and how it produces the flow. And hell, I'm not no scientist. Everybody's sitting here looking at me. We're going to learn about solar power. We're going to create business. They can motivate. They can motivate to the point where the preacher can't do it. The imam can't do it. I'm talking about to a segment of the population. Let me repeat myself. To a segment of the population. They can motivate people. So, you know what? I'm going to get into green technology. I'm going to get into solar energy. I'm going to get into all these other things. You see, crime pays certain group of people. Prison industrial complex is a cesspool. You know, talk about rehabilitation, man. There's no real rehabilitation. For most people, it's not rehabilitation. It's called the recidivism rate. Recidivism means going into the prison and coming back into it. Okay. It's high because a lot of times when you get locked up, you don't have the opportunity. You may not have the opportunity to be gainfully employed. You may not. But that's why I believe while you and the brothers that do belong to the GDs and do belong to the gangster disciples in jail, you know what? Go to school. You know what? Don't spend all type of time hanging out on the gallery, watching television all day. That's if you got an outtake. You know, but even if you don't have an outtake, you can get some knowledge. You know what? You say, you know what? I'm gonna tutor this brother so he don't have to go do what I want to do. He'll never come back. Say hi to the brothers in the prisons, in Statesville prison, in Joliet, in Cook County Jail. You know, there's a brother named Mark Clemens that's working the health. I want to work with him, but I reach out to him. He hasn't included me anything, but that won't stop me. You know, because I love to go to one. Helping people that are incarcerated, because it's easy to get locked up. It's easy to get locked up. And what's the guy named Redbird, the guy that just shot those two people and killed them and was with him. You know what? He injured one. And you know what? That just didn't really go with me, but that's the law. But you know what? That's the law. That's the law. But you know what? I was at a restaurant. And I'm gonna say the name, LNG's in Chicago. I was talking to people. And I said, man, that's good. You let it follow the law. And you know what? I asked somebody, do you think they would have done the same thing with me, being a man of color? I asked. Because you know what? I asked out of curiosity. And you know what? The waitresses, which is great waitresses at LNG in Chicago, and Serena, dog-skinned sister. People in 75th Exchange in Chicago go to LNG's restaurant. He ain't paying me to say this. Lord knows he ain't gonna give me no discount. But you know what? But I get my blessings anyway. But they were saying, we were talking. And you know how you talk. And Nick was there. Nick owns the joint, the place. And he said, man, they would have let you go now. And you know what? the two waitresses looked at each other and they commented and said, man, you got to be careful. I believe, I could be wrong. I believe this in my heart. What Rittenberg did, first of all, the law let him go. Okay, I got this. I believe if it would have been me, I believe if it would have been me, I believe that I would be in jail right now. If I walked out with a gun that was not registered and I stood before a jury, and I played self-defense, I believe, I'm talking about myself, I believe I would be in jail. I believe. But then you know what? There's a book that says that the rich are set free and the poor go to jail. They go to jail. And you know what? I believe that. I read that book. Okay. I'm gonna lower my head because I'm reading something. And what happens is when you get old, you need your glasses. And I'm guilty not wearing my glasses. And then I try to play like I don't need them. Mr. Lowe, I agree with you. Motivation is to keep. For example, I could be wrong, but I think Jeff motivates blacks to. Oh, he motivated blacks to vote for Nixon. You see, I did it for my people, not for you. Hey, man, you know what? President Nixon, you know what? You ain't gonna believe this. I was reading something. This is an old Times. Times is a magazine in the United States of America. This is an old Times. Times is a magazine in the United States of America. This is an old Times. Times is a magazine in the United States. I was reading something about President Nixon. This is an old Times. I thought he was an all right guy. I really did. Join us. I'm putting the link inside of the chat room so y'all can join in, because I can talk now, but you know what? But you could join in if you want to join in. But I could talk. You know one thing about it, I could talk. You know what? One thing that disturbed me about Nixon, first of all, I say a good thing that he did. He made normal relations with China. That was a good thing. But you know what? But it was something that disturbed me. I am not talking about Watergate. I'm not talking about that. You know what? He got people don't. There's somebody out there that don't know what I mean by Watergate. They don't know. They don't know what I'm talking about. But the thing is, with Watergate, he has some, because he was fearful that he was going to lose the election. He had people break in. Oh, here come my guest. How you doing, brother? Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me? How you doing, brother? How you doing?
I can hear you.
All right, brother. I've been on here just running my mouth because Lord knows I can talk. Okay. You want to see that picture? You want to see that picture, Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford? You want to see it? Let you see it. Oh no, let me say. Oh, there they go. Okay. This is.
I see it.
There they go, brother. And you know what? This is the brother I believe the government was trying to get you out, brother. I believe it. But brother, tell us first of all, brother. Thank you for accepting the invitation to be on the Underground Railroad television show. But we come on the internet. Okay, so I am gracious. Please make an introduction of yourself, my brother. Make an introduction of yourself.
Well, I would say this. If you have anybody, my name is LaMarr, and I'm a strong believer for over 50 years, close to 30, that these men, both of these men, have been political prisoners because I'm closely related to the work of Mr. Hoover, and it's not criminal activity at all. It's more like back in the days that Jesus and the powers of peace will of Jesus' power.
First of all, brother, I'd like to ask you before we get down with it. Tell us basic information about Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford.
Well, both of them have very, very similar visions. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, they often almost come from the same neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They're not men that disagree with each other. As a matter of fact, they used to sit down at the same table together. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of discrepancy where the brothers, believe that some brothers believe that at one time Mr. Hoover was a stone, which is not the truth. But he was in close relations working with the stone. So when you're working with black people, you have to learn how to put aside the divisions of who we are and what we are and just be black people. Mm-hmm. So some people can't get past that. So they feel like you're standing with the stones and you're working with the stones. If you're standing with the Vice Lord and you must be a Vice Lord. If you're standing with the Latin Kings, you must be the Latin King. That's not what was happening. Those people sitting down at the table doing something in conjunction and together for black people, because that's how we have to stand. When the police ride down the street, they don't see arresting the stone, arresting the black disciple, arresting the gang disciple. They say, and they see arrest that nigga. Yeah. So at this point in time, just like you and I, we have to be together, unified.
And the enemy, why is it not in the enemy's benefit that we unify? Why is the enemy doing everything they can to keep us defragmented, to keep us splintered off? When you got two powerful brothers like Jeff Ford and Larry Hoover that can bring us together, why are they working to not let them out? And what is your organization doing?
I can say this. Right now, if you want to know what our organization is, we cancel everything that you do secret and in the dark. So everything is public venue right now, because whenever you have something secret and in the dark, that means that you have something that could be, according to the powers that be, could be illegal. So we want to make everything transparent. As you can see right now, we have a lot of celebrities that are barking up the right tree when they're saying that this is a free Larry Hoover, so that we can get this man, home to his family. Not as a gang member or a gang leader, but as a grandfather, a man that is in love with his wife, and his wife stood behind him for over 40 years through this stuff that he's going through. Of course, people do things. We're not questioning that. But there's a certain thing in this life called rebellion, reinstitute yourself. Just like when you have a Biden. So we voted Biden, the American people voted Biden for public president, but in reality, you forgot that Biden was the one that wrote the crime bill. Mm-hmm. So there is a certain thing that you have to understand about, when you forget. Mm-hmm. When a man's goods outweighs his wrongs, or a man is given a chance to do good on top of, rectifying his wrong. we want that same love and that same honor for Larry Hoover.
And the thing is, man, it's like my question to you is everything that the system has made legal was illegal then. They made opioids legal, but it used to be illegal. How come? Well, I don't understand. I'm giving you some examples. Things that were illegal, the system has made legal, like marijuana, okay, alcohol, prohibition of things, and they have turned around and made it into good. So was Larry Hoover them really doing bad? And Jeff Ford, the things that were illegal, they've turned legal. You know, from marijuana to alcohol to opioids. You know, I don't. Come on, break it down for me, brother.
But it's all about the matter of the day. Like in the days of Al Capone, you had the speakeasies and the alcohol. You know, in the days where Mayor Daley, you know, what was the mayor, and he was a part of the Humbergs. You always have people that are involved, especially in Chicago, when you have a history of gangsterism. You have a history of groups moving together for their individual groups. You got the Polish, you know, moving together for what the Polish want. You got the Latinos moving together for what the Latinos want. But it's always, for some reason, it's always the blacks. When the blacks move something together for what the blacks need and what the blacks want, then the doors close, like Brother Shaka told us a long time ago, and these things become illegal. You understand me? Like racketeering, you know, for instance, you know, you can't jump up and build a business and go into white neighborhoods with a soul food. They won't let you do that. But they'll put up a cleaners in your area. They'll put up a Chinese food place in your area. They'll, you know, the Indians are open up 7-Elevens and different shops in your area. See, there's a problem when blacks begin to organize and to move, because we represent a third of these dollars. You already know we represent $3 billion. You understand me? Coming out of our community. While we sending kids to college, we sending, you know, these guys to buy their BMWs and whatnot, enriching their communities, and then going back overseas. You understand me? And spending their money that we've given them. So at this time, we have an intelligent man. You got the internet, you know, feeding individuals real information. So at this time, the black man has become intelligent, and we want to be able to do something for ourselves.
And I wanna ask you something. This is about the Latin Kings, okay? And I don't know if you're privy to talk about the Latin Kings. I want to say, during the virus, the Latin Kings protected their community, okay? And I believe if Jeff Ford and Larry Hoover would have been out of jail, they would have protected their community where it wouldn't have been destroyed like the Latin Kings did. Do you agree with that or disagree with that?
Well, I agree with you to a certain extent. If you have followed the full commitment, you know, of what happened with the Latin Kings, you know, they did protect their community at first, but you know, it was actually the wrong thing to do, because their leaders stepped up and they said it wasn't a brown power without a black power. And you got to understand that we're always at the bottom of the utensil. So after they get done dealing with us, they're going to deal with you. So we was able to sit down at the table, you know, growth and development, some of the brothers from off 63rd, and sit down with the Little Village brothers. That was the Latin Kings in Little Village. They was protecting their community simply because they felt like, you know, the younger brothers would come down and riot and smash their stores, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, that wasn't the case at all. And one thing that I want to commend the brothers of the Latin Kings and the Little Village community, because besides the downtown area, they have the very biggest shopping centers and all of the money down there in Little Village.
Mm-hmm. And you know, as we talk about Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford, do you believe that they would have gave marching orders that you will not tie down nothing in this African American community? You believe they would have been giving those orders to the troops?
Well, I believe this: when you under a disciplined order, You know, when you have soldiers, and that's what leaders have. Leaders have soldiers. When you have soldiers, the soldiers move when they told. So this is something that you wouldn't have to say, you wouldn't have to commit, you wouldn't have to write that down or commit that, because these soldiers will move when they told. So if you didn't tell them to go down to go and tear nothing down, then they wouldn't do it. And that's where we've lost communication with some of our brothers today. You know, we haven't gone to get our youth. We haven't gone to get, you know, our nephews and our cousins and our sons who are younger than us that listen to us, because we've just decided that we're going to live the way we want to live, you know, and allow these brothers to grow up without having any guidance or direction. And that's one thing that, you know, a Larry Hoover or a Jeff Fort definitely represents, is direction, discipline, and order.
And you know what? Can you give us an example? They are political prisoners, as far as I'm concerned. What are they going through right now? Because you may come in contact with them, or you might not be privileged to say it. I don't know.
No, I'm going to take it, but I shake my head because it's sad. It's sad what they're going through right now. You know, Jeff Fort and Mr. Hoover is locked up in the most secure prison in the United States, man.
What's the
And
name?
when I'm saying that, I'm saying that they don't have no physical contact at all, not even with guards. For 23 hours a day, they in a cell, and they dealing with concrete and steel. You know, some of us have been locked up before, and some of us have been in SEG before. When you in SEG 6 months, it'll mess with your mentals. When you in SEG, did you hear what I said? When you in SEG 6 months and they getting ready to put you in C grade and take away your commissary and maybe knock off a couple of good time days, that messes with your mental, and that's just 6 months. We talking about men that's been locked up in this fashion for 20, 30, 40 years. That's inhumane.
I mean, you know what? It's mind-boggling to me. But I would like to know. I remember when Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford was out there, young children that are being gunned down in the streets, and there used to be a code of ethics. If y'all gun down these children, you will be taken care of. Was there not a code of ethics once upon a time?
That was the code. If you remember, because I know you're from Chicago, you remember the one young brother that was shot in the Cabrini Greens. And that was an example of what happens, you know, where the brothers decided, hey, listen, you either turn yourself in to the police, or we're going to take you down to the police and turn you in, because that's something that we don't do. You don't mess with women. You don't mess with children. My brother Gator calls it the code. You understand me? And it should be followed. That's something that it has to be followed. But in order for any code or any matter of discipline to be followed, you have to have a structure to enforce that matter and enforce that discipline. And that's where we're lacking, because they don't want to see that strong black leadership. So we can't build the structure that we need to be able to control the brothers and sisters in our community that have gone astray.
Yeah. Can you communicate to the people that are saying right now, why let them out? Because I would like to know from you. There's certain segment of the population that the preacher cannot talk to, the imam cannot talk to, the rabbi cannot talk to, the pastor can't talk to, but they can communicate with them in a language that they understand. But if I'm wrong, let me know.
Well, I don't think you're wrong, but if you look into churches, and this is not to knock any Christian brothers or any of those that follow the Bible, but the churches, as far as the young brothers, the young strong soldiers that are out in the streets, they're missing. They're not in the churches. They're not in the imams, and in the masjids, and they're not following, you know, the way that traditionally religion was followed traditionally. And I'm not talking, you know, you might have one or two in there that are, you know, that have a background of running the streets and being, you know, a street soldier. But I'm talking about the masses of them. They're not following the traditional religions. And that is simply because, you know, the youth, and I don't want to get into it too deep, but the youth are looking for something different that you know, the generation ahead of them did not pursue. You know, and that goes into a deeper understanding. I don't know how far people have their knowledge, but the youth are not Martin Luther King bred. They're more on the surface of Malcolm X. They're more on the surface of Dr. Khaled. They're more on the surface of Louis Farrakhan. They're not Martin Luther King's children. They're not children of turn the other cheek, especially in Chicago. Do you see these kids in Chicago turning the other cheek? That's not what they do. that's not what's happening. So when you teaching that to them in the churches on Saturday, you know, and they watching the preachers, you know, preach the sermon on Saturday, but then smoke weed with them on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? You don't effectively reach these kids. They want to be around and they want to hear things that are real to them, tangible to them. You understand what I'm saying? People that can really communicate with them because you've been there, not people that are going to judge them.
I used to have a co-host called Alderman Jones, and he said he knew Jeff Ford. And he asked Jeff Ford, I said, man, how do you get all of these young people to follow you? He said, I do something their parents don't do. I give them attention.
That's right. Listen, yeah.
He said, I give them attention.
That's right. That's right.
And let me ask you something. You know, Joe Biden just passed a bill, go green bill, and these two brothers have the ability to have these young brothers go back to school. Hey man, we're gonna learn what wind is all about. We're gonna learn about solar power, and they can motivate people to go back to school, to go back to trade school, and to drop their guns. Would you agree with that?
Well, I agree with it somewhat, but I want to say this: you wouldn't have to do that if you didn't take those trade school opportunities out of school. Period. See, when you was growing up, they had wood shop, they had electricity, they had auto shop. They have things that you can do with your hands. You understand me? Because, you know, with us, with young brothers like us, we have to be physical. We have to be physically active so that when we lay down at night, we go to sleep because we tired. You understand me? Physically tired. That's how you raise a young man, you know, that has that adrenaline flowing in him. He needs to be tired at night. You see, but these young boys ain't tired at night. They running around with they full of energy. They frail. You know what I'm saying? High. You know, so I don't want to get into that. But all I'm saying is that you took home economics out of school. You took wood shop and other works of the hands that brothers need. Things that are beneficial, because everybody's not going to be a brain surgeon. Everybody's not going to be a mathematician. Some of us are going to build, you know, and you took that away. Some of us are going to be auto mechanics. You took that away. That's what we need.
And I want to ask you something. And Jeff, I mean, what Supermax prison did you say they are in? Where are they at? And how can we help Larry Hoover and Jeff?
I'm glad you asked that.
How can we support them? You know,
I'm glad you asked that. They're in Florence, Colorado, ADX, which you might not know, but ADX is that administrative segregation.
Okay.
That's ADX. Now, ADX is in the mountains and in the ground. So it's not like you can happenstance, you know, stumble on this. You have to be looking for it. There's a road that goes, I can say this, that there's a road that you take, a very long road that goes out to this prison. And then when you go to the prison, you go down the road, and then the road splits up into different places that you are going in the prison. It's a community. It's a whole city. You know, you might be going north and you might be going south. This is all a road going inside the ADX, the administrative state. It's a pathetic place. How you can help them out? Well, I mean, if you don't know anything, you can help them out by being a responsible father. You can help them out by being a responsible, husband, or if that's what you want to do, family man, whatever. You can help them out like that. But if you involve with community, then you know what to do. You know how to reach these men. You know, I'm not saying write them, but get involved with some of the things like my brother has a Free My Father campaign. And then we're doing this concert, and you already know that. And I wanted to talk about it.
Where's the concert?
The concert, the concert is on December 9th, and it's going to be a direct benefit to help Mr. Hoover. You know, our goal, again, is to let this man come home. This man has served his time, and he's definitely a political prisoner, and it's ridiculous.
You know, I went to his mother's funeral, Red Ross. You know Red Ross. He invited me. And I was like, how you inviting me to go to Larry Hoover's motherfucker. You know, where was our home going? And I said, well, you know what? I went, you know what? I was amazed at how many people from different affiliations
Organization.
came
Exactly.
from different parts of the
That's right.
United States. And you know what I said to myself? This man has power and still has respect.
Right.
And he still controls a certain segment of these groups from
Right.
within those walls. Is
Right.
that not true?
Well, I want to say this. You know, he's not in control of anything. You know what that is those are the old individuals that used to be, you know, actively involved, and they have a certain amount of respect. You understand me, for him when he was actively involved. So that's a group thing. That's a group membership. Kind of like you got to respect from some of the brothers that you used to be with. You know, when y'all grew up, some of the things that you've done, some of the things that you all been involved with. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have control to this day. You know, one of the brothers that came around was the Vice Lord, former Vice Lord Chief Brother Benny Lee, a good brother. All brothers of the struggle. You understand what I'm saying? So you can't say that he has any control of anything because he hasn't been in communication with anybody. He's not living that type of life. He's not giving those type of commands. He's not on that, as the young folks say. He's not on that.
September.
But as you make that statement, he does not have that power, but he still has the power to influence, though, right? He has the
Well,
power to influence
anybody that's situated in respect, like he is. He's situated as a man of respect. And anybody that's a man of respect, when they speak, you want to hear what they're saying. You understand me? Because they didn't get respect by, you know, not being intelligent. So he has to be intelligent. So when that man speaks, people are going to listen, and people are going to, you know, some people are going to take his advice. But, you know, there are other things that we just don't want to cast him in certain lights. Like even the name of your show, when you say, should Jeff Fort and Larry Hoover, you know, Chicago gang leaders, you know, this, we don't want Mr. Hoover associated with anything, you know, close to gang and all that other type stuff, because a gang is a group of unorganized radicals. You understand me? What people didn't understand was it was an organization, and it still is an organization, but it's not approved by the powers that be. So they say, hey, it's a gang. And then since when did coming together, being grouped up, when did that become the gang? The little rascals, they weren't arrested. They weren't indicted. You don't see them indicting Spanky or Darla. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily, you know, always a good or bad thing, but it's the powers that be. You understand me? That put a certain spin on certain things. Yeah. So we want to get away from, you know, being termed gang.
I want to ask you, a lot of people just don't know, man. They talk about gangs. Mayor Daley was in the hamburger gang, and there's a lot of people that don't read. They don't even know what we're talking about.
Right.
And Michael Maddox, who used to be the Speaker of the House, used to be in the hamburger gang. Why weren't they dealt with?
They weren't dealt with because they had the political powers that be. I want to say they had the wand. They had the magic wand. They was able to wield power. You understand me? Through their unity. Now I'm not gonna knock them. I'm not gonna knock them because they came together in unity, and the people that they wanted to be in charge was in charge, which is what we need to do. You see, we need to do the same thing, and that's what I don't know if you know this or not, but Mr. Hoover read that book written by Mayor Daley called Boss, and that's where we got the concept of coming together, unifying, so that we can be our own people. And it goes back to even when my brother Fred Hampton, you know, used to say power to the people. You know, that's real. You know, the Italian people got their power, the black people got their power, the brown people got their power. You know, power should go to the people. It shouldn't go to one person to rule the other people. You're never going to find satisfaction there.
I'm going to say, for the people that are looking up here, I have these pictures behind me. On this side is Jeff Ford. On the other side, I'm not even pointing right here, Larry Hoover. And This is a question that you might not want to answer. I believe there are people that's, that are influential within some of these groups, and they said they're working on the behalf of getting Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford out of jail, but in their minds, they really don't want them out of jail. They're insincere because they feel that they will lose some type of structural power if they got out. Is that a possibility?
That's always a possibility.
Thank you.
You know, I'm not knocking you for saying that. That's always a possibility, but that's a possibility with anybody that is representing.
You got a call? Yes. Go ahead. Okay. 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 I'm trying. I don't see. Okay. Now I see. Okay. No, I don't see you. No, I don't. I'm sorry. It's a caller. I don't see you here. I don't see you. Okay. Yeah, I got him on. So, just leave a message in the chat room. I'm sorry, brother. That was a caller. Okay. You know what? So I'm saying is, you're in a world sometimes with insincere people. You know.
Right.
It reminds me of something of somebody being down in the ledge and you reaching for them, but you got a ladder right next to you. And some people may feel, you know what, I may lose something if they get out.
Right.
That's the way I see that. And there's some names, but you know what, I'm not going to call the names because I'm not within your organizational structure. I'm not going to do that.
Well, we don't have to. We don't have to look at it, you know, in the way of organizational structure. You can look at it in the way of Jesus. He had individuals with him that were not sincere because he was betrayed by Judas. You understand what I'm saying? So anytime you have an organization, you have a movement, you have a power, there are individuals that join that organization for strictly that power, and they're not really involved with the cause.
In the world of insecurity. And I want to ask you something. The city of Chicago, what people, are there a group of people that are working with you to petition to get them out? You prefer not to say those names because some people don't want to be known. They want to be anonymous.
Well, you can see our workings again. Like I told you, everything is transparent. You can see the people that we work with. You can see the lawyers. You know about the team. And if you haven't learned about the team, then you know about Ye, and you know about Jay Prince, and you know about individuals coming together so to make this happen.
And let me ask you, Bob, why did the federal government feel the need to destroy the push movement? For people that don't know what the push movement is, they were working to galvanize, to build a voting bloc so that they could elect their alderman, state representative. Why did the federal government, in my opinion, why did they do that? Why did they do that?
Well, it's the same way, you know, why did the federal government work to destroy Marcus Garvey? But why did the federal government work to destroy Noble Drew Ali? Why did the federal government work to destroy Muammar Gaddafi? Why did the federal government work to destroy, you know, so many individuals who represent a change, you know, for the people and make things better for the people? You know, that's the question. Now, I guess I can't answer, you know, from their point of view, but from our point of view, it's a bad thing.
It's a bad thing. You know, the government. I was I don't know if you remember this. This was in the news a long time. Kirk, who was a congressman, said that we are going to start confiscating gangster gangster GDs and gangster disciples, and L. Rookins things for the things they do. But why did he not say that about groups that are hateful towards people of color? Why didn't he say that? He never said a word about it. Why?
Well, in this world, you got to pick a side, man. You got to pick a side. You got to find out what side you're on. And if you find yourself on the wrong side, you know, and you don't know it, then all you got to do is just check. You know, if rules and regulations are not going in your way, not going in your direction, then you must be on the wrong side. And in this country, you know, people of color, organizations of color, you know, have been on the wrong side. You understand? Because when you have a Rittenhouse and his people, they're on the right side. You don't understand that they have a militia that's designed to come together and make it happen should the police fall in this country. You know, they got police unions and all of this, you know, and it may fall. But I'm telling you right now that this country is that they have a contingency plan, and you need to know that.
Oh yeah, you know, I think a lot of people don't know it because they don't read. They're so busy snapping their fingers, partying, drinking, smoking weed. You know, I was with somebody, and you know what? The guy that walked in with his pants down. He said, "Pull your pants up." You know what he said? I'll pull mine. I'll pull it up when y'all put y'all pants on. And I would say that these men, Jeff Ford and Larry Hoover, had their pants on. And if they could run and organize like that, if they got it, it would be a benefit to the society. Do you agree with that, and why?
I definitely agree with that. I've talked with some of the brothers who respect. I've talked with brother like Brother Hoover, you know, Brother Duck before he passed. I've talked with these individuals, and they know of Mr. Hoover, and they're the leaders of today. Believe it or not, we're not the leaders; they're the leaders of today, because they're reaching far more people with their word of mouth than we ever will be able to reach. You know, with their songs and their music, they're the leaders. So when you communicate with them, and they communicate with their fathers, and then their fathers communicate with us, and we communicate with him, the trickle down effect can happen. The old African or spiritual Negro or whatever, you know, can tell his story through our stories of chime and rhyme. You know, you'll be able to understand what it is that those older brothers are saying, because everybody will be working together.
Okay. And you know what? People that are looking at this broadcast, I would like for you to share this broadcast. You know what? There's a button, press to share. Because you know what? We have to support Brother Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford, Jeff Ford and Larry Hoover. I don't want to say both of their names opposite each other, because you know what? Both of them are important to the African American community and to the world. We have to work to try to get them out of jail. They should not, because they have so much knowledge in their heads. Let me ask you this question. There's somebody that's looking at this saying, man, why should we let them out after they controlled and did all that wrong to them? There's somebody looking at this, and they're saying that, can you appeal to them?
Well, I definitely can, and you can too, because what man has walked on this earth and hasn't done any wrong? As a matter of fact, the Bible, I like to refer to it because most of our people are Christian. Who without sin, he without sin, cast the first stone. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, if you've walked this life perfectly, if you haven't done anything wrong, then that's the only way that you will be able to say that these men should not come home. These men were misunderstood because what they represented was the unity of our people. And they did it in the fashion, you understand me, that was not acceptable to the powers that be. So when I asked you earlier that you have to pick sides, it's only because you're getting information from the wrong side, brother. That's the reason why you don't have a passion for these men. You know, if not to go too deep, but you know,
come on, get down with it, brother.
You're just on the wrong side of history. If you remember the account of Shaka Zulu, you know, what side was you on? Because it was Shaka Zulu and you know, that episode that created what they call the Africanos, the South Africans, them white Africans down there. You know what I'm saying? It's about what side you on. And that's where we have to understand, you know, pick a side. Pick a side.
Mm-hmm. And then they talk about, I'm talking Jeff Ford. He was so bad. He was so terrible.
Yeah. Well, if he was so bad and he wasn't so terrible, why was they giving him money?
Yeah. Why did Mayor Daley ask him to give votes? Why did Jane Byrne say, you know what? Help me get votes. If he's so bad and so why? Tell me, because a lot of people don't know that because they don't read.
Yeah.
See, let me say
the
people that don't know who Mayor Daley is, he was the mayor of Chicago, and
right.
Jane Byrne was the mayor of Chicago in the United States. So please educate me, brother.
No, well, that's what it is. You know, people don't know about Jeff Fort. They was giving money to Jeff Fort. Jeff Fort was giving government grants to operate the L. Rookins and the Black Peace Stones. And where they fell out with Jeff Fort was because they felt like he had misappropriated funds that they was giving him, because he took those funds that they gave him and he did what he felt like he needed to do in order for his people to stand up and be strong. You know, and even now, you know, these pictures that you got of these men, of Mr. Hoover and Jeff Fort, these are the legendary pictures that they show when they show Jeff Fort and they show Larry Hoover. But these men don't look like that no more. These men are old now. These men are going through what old people go through. You know what I'm saying? That health wise, you know, bone wise, age wise. They like to show the men strong like this, so that as they continue to keep them in cages, then you won't have a fear, or you won't cry a decree of inhumane treatment. You understand me, of how they got these old men now.
I'd like to ask you something. This is not related to this. We live in Chicago. I'm assuming you in Chicago.
Yes, sir.
But I would like to ask you. This is about Mayor Lightfoot. I'm not going to talk about her persuasion, because you know what? That's her own business. I would like to ask you something. Why are there certain set of rules for the North Side, in the South Side, and the East Side? For example, I can't walk down the streets with a beer, drinking it, on the South Side or East Side, but I can do it on the North Side. I can't walk down the streets with a joint, which I don't smoke, on the North Side, but I can't do it on the South Side or East Side without being arrested. I can park and don't put nothing in the pay box when I'm at the beach sometimes and not get a ticket, but on the South or East Side, I can't do that. Why? I'm asking you to educate us.
Ain't no education needed. Pick a side. This ain't nothing new. You know, the South Side and West Side is where we live. the North and the East Side is where they live. That's you know, I got questions too. But it's all about picking a side, man. If you realize, I read a meme the other day, and it said this very important. It was deep. It said, a system cannot fail those it was not designed to protect. And we keep looking for this system to do some good for us. And that's where our mistake is. You know, we keep asking these questions, we keep rioting, we keep throwing up our hands and say, that's not fair, that's not fair. Well, I don't, you know, at what time are you going to wake up and decide that you got to do for yourself? And that was the problem that we had. I know this is going to be controversial, what I'm going to say. But that was the problem that we had with Martin Luther King, because Martin Luther King came to integrate. You understand me? And when he integrated, then that put the Black community in a bad situation, because now we've lost so many jobs. We lost our businesses. We lost our mom and pop stores. And now crime rises in our community. So on the flip side of Malcolm X was saying, hey, these white folks don't want you in their stores. Don't go in there. Go build your own. See, you go build your own. Now you employing members in your community. You know, so it's a big thing. You got to pick sides. You got to pick a side.
Would you say that Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford, with them out of jail, they could influence people to vote in certain blocks to where your politician would never dare do anything to the detriment of the people without retribution? I'm talking about political retribution.
Absolutely. Because just like, you know, they call it lobbyists. They call it lobbyists. You know, when people want to run for office, they go to certain people in this community right now. Ask Obama. They go to certain people in the community and say, hey, would you back me? You know, I want to run for mayor. Would you back me? And these are two of the men that definitely people are going to come to. They're going to come to Mr. Hoover. They're going to come to Mr. Ford. They're going to say, hey, I want to run for mayor. I want to run for alderman in this community. Would you back me? And then you already know from the power of these men that, you know, whatever you say you're going to do in office, you're going to make sure that you produce that.
Yeah, man, and that's the way they would never. I feel as though people of color, I'm not, you know, all due respect to Europeans, people of color are being used by the Democratic Party.
Absolutely.
And you see them around during election time, but after when the election is over, they don't want to be bothered. Okay, I'm experiencing. I experienced that, man. I helped somebody get elected, and you know what? They had a party giving us chicken wings, but they had Wildwood Pops for us, and they had chicken wings if they had steak downtown.
Wow. That reminds me, though, you know, if you remember correctly, when we first started rallying and the growth and development and 21st century vote, we put Harold Washington in office. And people don't realize that. That was us that did that because we was going door to door. We was picking up people in cars. We was taking them to the voting booth. We was becoming registrars. You understand me? And we put that foot to street and we made that happen. And we put Mr. Harold Washington, you know, in office. And had not he been killed, you know, he would have been in office just like the political machine, Mr. Daley himself. As you know, the City Hall looked like the South Side. It was people down there getting things happening, you know, for themselves. And the washers didn't have all the contracts. You understand me? So we was able to distribute some of this wealth. See, when you ride down Chicago streets right now, if the washers ain't working on that street, it ain't getting work done. You know what I'm saying? We was able to put aside some of those.
Have a construction company.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Lord have mercy, bro.
So we got a long way, but we got a plan, and that's very important. You know what I'm saying? And if we free this man, you know, that'll be a very, very, very intricate part of our plan. You know,
you got a call. So I'm gonna take the call like this. Yes, hello. Hello. They hung up. Hello. Oh, I'm gonna have to take the call like that if somebody called. But you know what? I would like to know. Their brothers in Statesville Prison, in Joliet, in Cook County Jail, and the women in Dwight. Do you have a specific message that you can give to them to give them some type of encouragement?
Absolutely.
I'm missing prisons. I know. I don't even know if St. Charles is open no more. I don't know.
Right. You know, they closed Joliet, P.O. Box 515. I don't even know. You know, I can say this, though. Ice Cube said it best. We behind enemy lines, dog. Y'all know. We behind enemy lines. A lot of the things that you all are locked up about, they're not going to lock their people up about. No. Sometimes a few of them slip through the cracks and they get locked up with us. But look how they treat you down in Menard.
But can you say something to encourage them? Encourage them, please. Can you say something to encourage them?
Yeah, they know about encouragement. They behind enemy lines. They know. They absolutely know. But there ain't nothing that we can do. The only thing, let me tell you something about the brothers that's locked up and the sisters that's locked up. There's no better news to them than roll them up. That's it. If you could say roll them up to one of them, instantly they become a different person.
Now, I gotta admit, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. So, but that's the encouraging word for them.
What does roll them up mean?
Well, roll them up mean that you get ready to roll up your mattress with all your utensils and stuff in it and get the hell up out of there. that's what time that is. 2 in a wake up, 3 in a wake up. These are the things that's encouraging to them. Otherwise, everything else is just talk, man. Everything else is just talk.
You know, I would like for you to send a message out there to someone that is thinking about pulling the trigger tonight or tomorrow in the future, why they shouldn't do it.
Think about afterwards.
Talk
Only
to
taking up to a certain point. Think about afterwards. Think about when they catch you. Think about the hunt. Think
Yeah.
about the 3 hots in the cot. Think about that.
Okay, hold on for 1 sec. Okay. Yeah, so you got something to say? Go ahead and say it. And then I'm going to say it over the air. Go ahead. You from Florida. So what's your question? He said he don't understand how Larry Hoover did what? He don't understand how Larry Hoover got all these life sentences. How? That's what he would
Oh,
like.
he don't understand.
Yeah, he's calling. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what he wanted to explain. He just called that number down there. He said, how did Larry Hoover get all these life sentences?
Basically, his life sentences have been.
Hope everybody is
I
enjoying.
don't know if you know too much about the law, but 20 years is life. So right now, Mr. Hoover is being held on just strictly being a powerful individual, what we call political prisoner. Under the First Step Act, he qualifies to come home. There was no violence that he was convicted of, and you can't you shouldn't be able to put a person in jail for the rest of their life because they've distributed narcotics. There's no violence involved with that. You understand what I'm saying? He got 6 life sentences because Mr. Hoover, I don't know what part have you missed. Mr. Hoover is a beacon of light in his community. That's why he got 6 life sentences. And when people want to snuff you out with COVID, you understand me, and different other things that they've got, floating around this country to kill you, through your foods and through your water. When people want to snuff you out, anything that's a beacon of light is an enemy.
I would like to ask you something about, and I don't know if you're too familiar about, what Jeff Ford. I do not believe he was involved with rocket launches and want to bring down an American plane in the United States and getting weapons from Muammar Gaddafi, which I like. I felt he was a hero. I felt that all that. And I want to ask you, what happened? I'm gonna take this call. Go ahead.
I don't really know too in depth of Mr. Ford like I know Mr. Hoover.
Okay.
I could say this, that I know that they lied on him. I'm very familiar with that. I'm very familiar that he was not buying rocket launchers. I'm very familiar that they tried to set things up just like we already talked about. You have Judases that get involved with your organization. Some come by themselves and some are sent. And it's rough. It was rough, but Mr. Ford was very intelligent. He was.
Got another telephone call. Go ahead, brother. Yeah, go ahead.
Now let me tell you, brother Israel, Mr. Larry Hoover didn't work for Jeff Ford. He admired Jeff Ford.
This brother got a question.
Organization, but he never worked for him.
Brother got a question for you. I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
Robert, and it was always said that back in the early 90s.
Can you hear it?
That back in the early 90s, that when Larry Hoover was up for parole, that it was denied because of the gangster disciples that was indicted in Rockford, Illinois, under them Fed charges. How true is that? Hoover was up for parole, that it was denied.
Can you hear it?
Because,
okay, he's gonna answer your question right now. Okay.
Thank you, brother. God bless y'all.
God bless you. Hotel. You see, go ahead.
Well, it's well understood, and I'll go back to this. Pick a side. Who said that it was denied and why they said it was denied? Because right now, it's still being denied. What's the reason now? What's the reason now? The bottom line is that the man is being denied his right to breathe free air. That's the bottom line. So if you powers that be, you know what? It's just like you. I don't know if you ever been locked up before, but you in C grade and they won't let you out of C grade. They don't like the way you wear your shoes. They don't like the way you wear your hat. You didn't tuck in your shirt. You didn't make up your bed. You see what I'm saying? Your house is dirty. You didn't sweep your cell. If you got somebody harassing you, man, what's the real problem? What's the real deal? Because you can always find, a reason to harass somebody, but what's the real deal?
Yeah,
that's the question.
Yeah, go ahead, caller. Go ahead and talk. How you doing?
Well, yeah, it's just like, bro, this whole story is like.
Can you hear it? Go ahead, talk.
Yeah, I was just saying, his whole story just make me want to shed tears because, like, the dude been in jail for 50 years. Like, it's so sad what they doing to him, bro. And do you believe he will come home anytime soon?
You say, do you believe he'll come home anytime soon?
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
my question.
What city?
If I didn't have belief that he'll come home, then this would be a waste of time.
He's from Chapel, Florida. He's saying, do you believe he will come home anytime soon?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If we didn't believe he wasn't going to come home, then this would be a waste of. There's been a 50-year fight, but we still believe that he's going to be home because we're going to keep on swinging. That's what he's about. We're going to keep on swinging. Yeah,
man, you see Gator, tell him I said hi, man. I've been trying. You know what? People think me and Gator are related. You know what? His last name is Bradley. My last name is Bradley. But I say, who knows?
Yeah, might be. Or at least the same plantation. You know? if nothing else, the same plantation.
You know, I laugh because you know what? Gator Bradley was my first interview on television. He's something else. I'm still waiting on him to bite me on. I've been waiting for years. But anyway, man, you got a question from Blue Devil. What is it that if he comes back, what is he going to contribute to society?
Well, when he comes back, the first example that he's going to show you and me is how to be a good husband, how to be a good father, how to be a good grandfather. You understand me? And how to appreciate the sanctity of your family and your children. That's a perfect contribution to society.
Blue Devil. Okay, hey man, thank you. And people that are looking at this, I want you to tap to share this on social media because you know what? Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford need to be out of prison. Jeff Ford and Larry Hoover need to be out of prison. You know. Oh, you got another caller. Okay, we got another caller. Hey, how you doing, caller?
Yo.
Go ahead.
Yo, I was just trying to say, like, Larry, he's not
You
in
hear it?
jail for no drug conspiracy. He in jail because he was trying to get political. Like, he was trying to organize a bunch of black people and show that we really have more than a monolithic voice so that we can really get political, showing that we don't have to be 95% Democratic. You know what I mean? He was trying to organize a lot of voting blocks so we can organize our vote, and with our vote, we'll have a bunch of power.
Okay, I'm gonna have him answer that. Okay, thank you. He was saying that the main reason that he believes that Jeff Ford is in jail is because
here's the definition of
he was building a political
representation
structure
or account of
that
a
would
person,
have challenged
object, or event.
the powers to be. Would you agree on that and elaborate on that?
Well, we already have been. You know, he must have just chimed in. Thank you for chiming in. You know, but we already have elaborated on that. We exactly saying that throughout this whole discourse. We exactly saying that.
Okay, and you know what? It's something. You talk about two great voices that can, and I think both of them, man, they even met together with Minister Farrakhan at some point in their lives, didn't they?
Well, you know, in humility, I was the person that introduced the conjunction of the Hoover structure with growth and development with Minister Farrakhan. You know, Jeff Ford is of course Islamic. You know, so they have a certain relationship. I don't deal with that. I got a brother that deals with that. I won't say his name, but he deals with that, and he's in. Minister Farrakhan is in cooperation and admiration of these brothers. He definitely believes that they should be free as political prisoners.
I know that from an Islamic point of view, Jeff Ford, he did convert to Islam. I think he's called Chief Malik. If I'm saying it wrong, it wrong, correct me.
No, that's what his name is, Chief Malik Al-Kaaba. That's his name.
Yeah. And you know, man, you got another call. You got another call, okay?
Mhm.
Yeah, how you doing, caller? Hold on for 1 second. Hold on. I'm going to put you on there, okay? Hold on. Okay. He's got a question for you.
No, it's not a question. I was just trying to tell him I had looked up Jeff Ford's name on this little federal inmate system, and he actually got a release date for like 2024. So that's some good news.
You know of any truth? I don't see anything where he has a release date of 2024.
Yeah, he's coming home. They didn't give Jeff Ford. They didn't give Jeff Ford life. They gave Larry Hoover life. Jeff Ford never had life. He had like I want to say 30
Okay.
something years.
Okay, let him. We're gonna let him. We're gonna let him respond to that. Okay. Thank you. You say Jeff Ford.
I would have to. I would really. I'm not saying that I don't believe him, but I would have to. In order to speak to that, I would really have to have the facts in front of me. I would really have to be taking a look at that thing. It's easy to find out though. Just like he did. All you got to do is just look on the Federal Bureau of Prisons inmate guide.
I would say that's not true because you know what? If he was coming home in 2024, that would be all in the news.
What? 21 now, so I mean, maybe, and then sometimes we misread the things that they give, because they maybe one of his sentences expires in 2024, but hey, it is what it is.
I would like to ask you something. I used to work at a prison, and I know that there are guards that are abusive to the prisoners, and they treat them like nothing. Man, I can remember going down. I'm not telling on myself. I can remember going at Cook County. You stand in line and you would get beat down even if you laughed. Okay.
Right.
What can you talk to the guards that are abusive to the prisoners, and why do you think that they're abusive? Correctional officers that are abusive to the prison, and they're correctional officers that misuse the women at the white prison in Illinois.
Wow.
Can you talk to them?
That I don't know. I really wouldn't know that. But I remember back in the prison days when we were strong in the 90s, that type of activity didn't happen. It was a cooperation. See, we was doing time on the long term. They was doing time on installments because they would come in and they would have to do their 8 hours, their 12 hours, their 8 hours, their 12 hours. And a lot of the prisoners would appreciate it if we wouldn't get into no situations so that they can go home to their families. So it was a way of us being able to cooperate with them and them being able to cooperate with us. And it worked as a relationship. We knew we couldn't go home, but you're not going to make this a hell for us, and everything worked out. I don't know. I can't speak on, what's happening then.
Okay, you got a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Oh, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Wait, it can answer me for both of y'all, because both of y'all from Chicago.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my question was this: what? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, what actually made Chicago like the most segregated and the most corrupt city? Like, why do you think Chicago is like one of the most segregated cities as far as like?
Okay, can you hear that? You say why is Chicago segregated like this?
Yes, LaMarr.
Well, where are you from?
He's from Florida.
He from Florida?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for calling.
Let me say this to you. Chicago ain't the most segregated city. Every city is segregated. Now, whether you want to recognize that or not, but there's a place where the blacks are. There's a place where the whites are. There's a place where the Chinese are. There's a place where the Africans are that don't associate with the blacks, the islanders. Every city is segregated. And that's called survival of life.
That's true. Let me ask you something. You know what I'd like to ask you? There's so many. There are men that go in prison, and they get violated. They get violated, taken advantage of, used as a plaything. First of all, if she can go to prison, how could a man avoid that? I'm talking I'm trying to say it in a nicer way. Somebody taking somebody's manhood. How can you escape that? 1 second, please.
That's rough. That is rough because most of the times, you
1 second, please. Go ahead.
You saying them 1 second? Okay.
Yeah.
From what I understand, there's something soft in you, from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that softness is. I don't know if you were raised by, all women or whatever, but something about you makes brothers that's been locked up and haven't seen a woman in a very long time. Something about you reminds them of a female. So therefore, when they see you and they deal with you, they trying to bring that thing out of you.
You got another call. Go ahead, caller. Thank you. Oh, just 1 second. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, my question was, who was more powerful out of King David and Larry Hoover? Is it like equal power?
Okay, thank you, brother. What city are you from, brother?
Oh, I'm from Atlanta.
Atlanta? Okay, thank you, brother. Thank you. This is a question he said he wanted. He said, which one is more powerful? Now, he's trying to pit one against the other, which I think you can do, but which one is more powerful? I don't think it makes, but go ahead.
I'm not gonna do that because this ain't no situation where we glorify one over the other. So I'm definitely not gonna do that. Both of these men are very respected. Both of these men are very powerful, and it's all about being black at this point. And actually, brother, you sound like you the same brother calling and saying you from different cities. You know what I'm saying? I'm not knocking you or whatnot, but let's just keep this shit real and let's get the bullshit out of here. You know what I'm saying? This ain't about anything that you can get anybody indicted over saying some crazy shit. This is about keeping people in real perspective over the reality of what's happening. And if you on tinkering and tottering on which organization to follow, I can't help you with none of that. You know,
but
you need
might be a good, might
to
be the government. But you know what? But this is something I do know. You say a man might be feminine. I know somebody, they went to prison, man, they buffed up, working out every day. I said, man, how did you let them break you down like that?
Wow.
He put his head down. He said, you can't beat the whole mob.
Wow.
Would you say that's true that you can't beat the whole mob?
Well, I can say this. I can say that is true, but the mob has rules against rape. The mob don't rape.
Yeah.
That's one of the rules, both of them. You know what I'm saying? Both of the mobs. You don't rape, you don't forcibly take nobody's manhood. That's law. And that's what I'm upset about when they start breaking these organizations down. That's something that you can't do. You'll get seriously violated for forcibly taking a man's manhood. You can't do that.
I don't know. You know what though?
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's, you know what, the weak ones, they will take this manhood. I'm talking about if you walk into prison and they know that you weak, they will. I believe. I'm not going to say how I know that, but I'm going to leave that alone. But they will take your manhood. You don't think so?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying forcibly. When a man has decided I'm a man and that's what's happening, and he's in the cell and he's faced with two or three, you understand me, 2 or 3 guys, that's a violation if y'all trying to take this brother's manhood. That's what the mob is about. You see what I'm saying? We can't allow you to take no man's manhood like that. That's inhumane. That's savage. We don't get down like that. But if you in a conversation nightly, listen to what I'm saying. If you in a conversation nightly, each and every night, where a man is coming at your manhood, you know what I'm saying? And then at some point or time, you let that thing go. Nobody can say anything.
I mean, what can a young boy that decides to pull a trigger expect if he's not affiliated with no gang once he go into prison? I already know, but go ahead. What can he expect?
That's bad. First of all, when you was on the streets and you decided to pull the trigger, you should have been affiliated with something ahead of time, because as you go in the state of Illinois, if you go in the penitentiary system and you're not affiliated normally, for safety reasons, brothers are join Latin Kings, because Latin Kings have an in-house policy where when you come to the door, you can become a Latin King. Now you can see black Latin Kings, you can see Mexican, whites, you see Latin Kings, you understand me, of all affiliations, because they have an in-house policy of accepting you, as soon as you come through the door, whether you're affiliated or not. Growth and development doesn't do that. The Vice Lord brothers don't do that. They have to recognize you as somebody that used to be with them on the streets in order to bring them in. I don't know. I think the brother Corky Mack say that's bullshit. Yes, they will take your manhood. Where you from, brother Corky Mack? Because we don't do that in Illinois.
Man, they will believe me, brother. You know what? I can tell you some things about Statesville, but you know what? I don't want to say it. Biggie. I'm just gonna say the name Biggie, okay? But you know what? I can tell you some things about Statesville prison, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So why is it important that a young man respect his mother and respect his father? And there's so many men that don't respect their mother and father, but when they go to prison, they follow orders. Why is that?
Well, when you go to prison, you're going to follow orders right off the bat, because your life is in danger. Mm-hmm. When you go to prison, you're going to follow orders, or else you're not going to make it out of prison, and as far as them not respecting their mother and not respecting their fathers, that's a shame. That's despicable. If you don't respect the womb that you come from, then you don't respect yourself. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have any self-respect, then, what does that amount to?
Do you think it's a situation where sometimes the parents are blamed because they try to be their child's best friend? And when you try to be your child's best friend, your child or the person that you're raising, they lose some type of respect for you. You start drinking with them, you start smoking with them, you start saying, do you think that's an aspect that's involved?
Well, you can't tell people how to raise their children. You know what I'm saying? You definitely can't do that, but that's not something that I would do. Even if I did get drunk, you know what I'm saying, or I was drunk, you know what I'm saying, I wouldn't drink with my son. If I did smoke, I wouldn't smoke with my son. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't do that.
Corky Mack say he was in Statesville, brother. I used to work in Statesville.
He said he was in Statesville?
Corky Mack. Yeah, Statesville.
What year, brother Corky Mack, what year was you in there that you seen brothers getting raped by the mob?
I don't know if it was B West or B East, brother. But
you was in the row houses? You was in the circle houses?
No.
You was in the octagon?
I'm gonna say the name. You know what? I can say the name now. He's dead. You ever hear Big Low?
Yeah, I know Big Low.
And brother,
yeah,
I could tell you some stories.
Big Bobby Low.
Yeah. I could tell you some stories, brother. So when I listen to somebody say your manhood can't be taken, your manhood can be taken, brother.
Yeah. Now look. When I say this, see, the question was the mob. That was what I was defending. The mob. I'm not talking about now. Big Low is a big fella, and he's powerful. Now let me tell you what. Let me tell you this.
No disrespect, Big Low. That was his thing.
I mean, let's just say this. He in respect of him, he would lean on you like that. But there are people that I know that he didn't get. You know what I'm saying? A couple of brothers that I know them personally that he didn't get because they was real men. Let's say, okay, well then I'm not doing that, so I'm gonna walk myself. I'm going to say it. I ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? But you can't say the mob was doing that. That's what he was doing. You understand what I'm saying? I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, man. Horrifying, man. But like I say, I don't. You know what? I don't believe that you can. I don't believe that your child or young person could be your best friend. I believe they lose some type of respect for you at some point. They do. And it's sad. You're not really preparing them for the world when you tell them to do something and they say,
Right.
I'll do it in 5 minutes. But that's
Nah,
not when I tell you to do something. See, I look at it as, you know what I mean, what advice would you give to a young lady that is raising a child by themselves and they don't have a male role model for that young man to look at? Because you know what? I believe in most cases, a woman cannot raise a boy into a man. In most cases.
getting ready to, you getting ready to you getting ready to have all the ladies upset with you, boy.
No, you hear what I said? I didn't say in all cases.
Right, right.
In most cases. Do you agree with that?
Well, we both of us are of the Islamic persuasion, and you know what we believe. That ain't no question. It takes a man to raise a man and a woman to raise a woman. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
that's how we believe. But other people they don't believe like that. Me and my son, you know, I would never. This is my bloodline. This is my flesh of my flesh. I wouldn't allow his mother to raise him. You know what I'm saying? He's got to go with me. You know, and my daughter, she can go with you. But he's got to go with me.
Alhamdulillah. All praise to Allah. So, brother, tell us about the event that is, you say what? Because we're going to share this. I'm going to post this again on Facebook, on YouTube, and I hope that you post it on your media. And you know what? Tell us about the event that coming up in terms of the future. What can we do to help and aid and assist Brother Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford and Larry Hoover? What can we do?
Well, there's an event coming up, you know, the benefit concert, December 9th.
Okay.
December 9th in Los Angeles, California, Los Angeles Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's gonna be a concert again. You understand me? By Ye and Drake coming together, and this is for the support. Also, if you're not with that, I want you to, if it's Facebook or whatever, Google Free My Father, you know, and get on board with that, with my brother's campaign. You understand me, to free his father, you know. Or you can take just Google Larry Hoover Enterprise. You know what I'm saying, and follow some of the things and get the info for LarryHooverJr.com. You know what I'm saying, and become involved in that way. Therefore, you know, your help can go directly, you know, to freeing Mr. Larry Hoover.
And you know what? That is very, very important. These type of brothers, they can motivate. I'm gonna emphasize that. They can talk to the youth in a language that the pastor, that the preacher, that the imam, that the cardinal don't have the ability to speak in, to motivate them.
Right,
You know,
right.
we must stop the killing. But you know what? I'm not saying they can stop the killing. They can minimize the killing. What would you say? They can stop the killing or minimize it?
I would say minimize, because you always got these rogue guys that's just gonna do what they gonna do anyway. Which you sometimes you might have to kill them. So that's a murder. You know what I'm saying? So
But we don't want to do that, though.
right. No, we don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? But in civilized society, you know, especially when you go over to the Middle East, you know, some things, you know, that you did require death. You know, that was the payment for it. You know,
Sharia law, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Some things would require, you know, thieves get their hands cut off. We don't want to see you with one hand, brother, because now you can only do half the work, but you can't be running around here stealing either. you know, you know what I'm saying? So, you know,
Man, don't get me get talking about Sharia law, man.
yeah, yeah. Sharia law, exactly.
You know what? You know, as a Muslim, well, you know what? I'm gonna keep it out of it because I'm concentrating on Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford. You know, with my religious persuasion. That's one thing I had to do. I have to learn to be objective. It's kind of hard to be, man. You know.
Well, see, that's the thing with these organizations. These organizations that I'm telling you right off the bat, they basically work on Sharia law. That's why the discipline is so strict. You understand me? And the structure is so keen when it's there, because there are consequences to pay. And most of the times when you're dealing with black men, you have to make those consequences, you know, as such, where brothers do not want to have to deal with those consequences. That's how you stop those actions.
Okay, we got something right here. You know what? I can't even read it. For example, in the East Coast of New York, there are guys. I cannot read the whole thing. I don't know. Government must be messing with the screen.
There was a guy named Mother Dear who studied 52 blocks and would try and take advantage of the inmates. Yeah, I respect that. Yeah, he was a sexual predator. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna tell you, in Illinois, you know what I'm saying? In Illinois, he'd have been dealt with. He'd have been dealt with. You know? Yeah.
I don't know, man. You know what? That's one. You know, one of the things that I always believe, and I would like to ask your opinion. You have the police officers that patrol the community and know where the drugs. They knew where the drugs were. They knew where the prostitution was, but they did nothing about it. And you know what? And then when you go and tell the state representative, our alderman, and they say, "No, man, they ain't selling no drugs in this community." You know, how is it that I can tell you where the drug house is and where to buy a gun, and the police can't?
Well, it's called job security. If police bust all the drug houses and get everybody off the street with the guns, then they don't have no damn job. And definitely not no full time and no overtime. you understand what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. In Chicago, Jack, crime is going down, and all the crime is not supported. You know what I'm saying? Just by the average citizen. A lot of crimes in Chicago is happening because of Chicago police. They're the ones I'm telling you right now. And I know you live in Chicago. You see them train yards. Them train yards in Chicago are like mini cities. They have their own roads. They have their own routes. How in the hell are you going to be able to pick out one train car with all the guns? Somebody got to tell you which train car that is. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a lot of stuff that's going on out here. But the fact of the matter is, that's why we're talking about Jeff Fort and Larry Hoover. See, individuals like that have enough power, you know, to be able to thwart that with a word and say, "Hey, man, stop pushing these guns in here." You know what I'm saying? Anybody know about the guns? Raise their hand. Tell us about these guns. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? You got to have somebody that's situating like that so that people will be able to stop this madness, man. And a lot of things are slipping through the cracks. And a lot of people are lying, and a lot of people are dodging responsibility. But the fact of the matter is, if everybody takes up their banner and they choose the right side, because that's the real deal. You know, you got to know that if this Caucasian or this power that be individual don't necessarily have to be a Caucasian, it can just be a power that be individual. Because a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, the black man is working the white agenda, you know, better than the white man. You know what I'm saying? So if you can come in and you can take up your responsibility, you know, and choose the right side, then you'll make the right decision.
You got Mr. Lowell, what's that? Mars Lowell, you say he totally agrees. And, you know, I want to ask you. I know this is turning into a longer interview than what I anticipated. But you know something? I hope you have said this. And who knows? Larry them may hear about this. I don't know. But you know what? I want to ask you something about police. The police have to watch body cams. Do you think that they should have 2 body cams so they can never have the excuse one didn't work?
That's a good idea.
And
they got the room.
And correction officers, because of their mistreatment, should they have 1 body cams too?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, in corrections office. Absolutely. There should be cameras everywhere, because there's cameras where you want them cameras to be. So, you know what I'm saying? There should be cameras everywhere. But there's cameras on them doors. There's cameras on the front doors. And they done moved to these pods and got away from cells. It's cameras on them pod doors. You know what I'm saying? So Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
You know, there's another question that's been just came to me. A police. The mayor said the mayor of Chicago said that before she ran for office, while she was running for office, she was going to make a civilian police board, and she's waffled and changed her mind. Why? And why did she make that promise? Why?
You see that man that's in offices is in
You throw it off YouTube talking about we're going. Go ahead.
you know we got to talk about him when we talk about the mayor because he's now running for mayor and he's been her opposition from day one and I understand it, but in reality, let's be true.
I'm talking about light play. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, I know, but I'm talking about the man that's the president of police operations. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? The one that's been giving her hell from day one. You know what I'm saying? The real deal is that they never respected her authority when she came in. First of all, man, Chicago is a very, very intricate place. She don't have no business being mayor here because she don't know the ins and outs. You understand what I'm saying? You can't come from Ohio and come from Detroit and come from Lexington, Kentucky, and whatnot. You can't do that and be Chicago and be a mayor of Chicago because you got to know the history here. You got to know the people that because there are hidden godfathers in every community that you need to have a knowledge of to go to be able to run this country, and that are not on political venues. They not running for alderman or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? You got to know these people. And
I totally
you don't know,
agree.
you don't know them.
So she said that she would make a civilian police board. She had no intention of doing that anyway.
No. But it's they used to have what was that citizens? They used to have a
You talking about caps?
caps.
You
Right.
talking about caps?
Yeah,
I'm
they
talking,
used to have caps that folded. So that's the idea. They be having these things, man, that fold because they say those things so that they can get the election of the people.
and you know what? I think this is my last question. Man, we've been in here almost 2 hours. But you know what? Well, something like almost my last question. You know what? Do you think if a police officer had private insurance, like a private detective, and people that do have, which I don't know have, okay, and do nails, they have to have insurance. Do you think they would think twice about doing wrong if they had to get insurance like a private detective? And should they get it? And correctional officers.
I agree with it. Earlier, a couple of years back, me and Gator was putting together a campaign where we believed, and I don't know where you got it from. I don't know if you got it from us or not, but where we believe that would be one of the things to deter police violence. That if you had to buy a certain insurance and you injured somebody and you had to actually pay for that, or it was docking on your pay. You know what I'm saying? And that it leaned against your police credibility and your record. That yeah, they would think twice. But they're not going to institute something like that because again, picking sides. If you understand what's going on, these people are licensed to keep this shit in order. They have to be. And all of the paperwork, all of that shit is just preliminaries. These men are licensed to keep this shit in order, and that's why you see the majority of them. When you see police in Chicago, I mean, it's a bunch of police in Chicago. It is a bunch of them, and only a small percentage of them are black.
But you know what? I have to ask you a fair question.
Mm.
And you know what? I'm asking from my objective point of view. I listen to WBON radio station. Okay, that's a black owned radio station that comes on in Chicago. Okay, you say there should be more black police officers. My question is, even if it was, how's it going to stop the code of silence? There's a code of silence on the police department where it is if me and you are cops and I see you do something, I ain't gonna tell on you.
Right,
So
right.
if you have a legion of black police officers that is not going to eliminate the code of silence, in my opinion. But if I am wrong, correct me.
No, I don't think you're wrong, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to tell you about numbers, because somebody said, numbers mean nothing. Numbers mean everything. You know what I'm saying? If you got 100 police and 90 of them are on the code of silence, the code of silence is in favor of who the 90 is. You understand what I'm saying? So if we had the switch, if we had 100 police and 90 of them were black, then that 90 would be in favor. The code of silence would be in favor of black people. So the code of silence can work against you or for you depending on the numbers. And if we had more black people to be policemen, if half the police force was black, then that code of silence would work in our behalf, on our behalf. Something.
You know the reason I don't think so? Because you know what? I remember cops like Two Gun Pete,
Right.
and Glove, and
and RoboCop. I know what you're talking about.
They act like they hated people of color because they felt that they had arrived and they was better. You know what I'm saying? So there's a subculture that I don't think can just be eliminated by just being black, because I think the other apparatuses need to be in there is with cameras and accountability. But if I'm wrong, tell me, educate me.
Well, I don't want to, I can't, you're a grown man. I can't educate you over
Oh,
what
you can educate me.
But I can say this. I can say this. I believe in that code of silence, but I believe that it can be affected by the numbers. I remember I was arrested by, I first went to the penitentiary over an investigation that went sideways. And I ended up taking a rap because I was stupid. I was young. And I was an individual that wouldn't tell on nobody. So I ended up going to the penitentiary. Mm-hmm. When I came home, the officer knew pretty much. And he was still working, doing his thing, but he had became a detective now. And he pretty much was like, yeah, I sent you to the penitentiary, man. And that's because you felt like you was tough, but I didn't want to do that. You was only 17 years old. Okay. So as I got into things later on, you know what I'm saying? It was almost like he owed me one. So when things would come down the line that was directed my way, he would give me a call. He would say, hey, man, you need to straighten this out, or you need to do this, you need to do that. See, I wouldn't get that courtesy, and I never would have got that courtesy, you understand me, if I didn't believe that code of silence is real, but that numbers, if we had more numbers like that, if we had more policemen like that, because you're breaking the code of silence there. You understand me? Because you know that you got the information to run this man in, but you have a certain heart. Mm-hmm. That's why we should have more people like ourselves. You understand me? That come from where we come from, look like us. You understand me? Police our own communities. If you look around right now, I don't know where you at, but right now, if you look outside, you call a police right now. If you call a police right now, something going on in your house, 2 white men gonna show up. Even if you're on the south side. If you're on the south side, southeast side, southwest side, in my neighborhood where I'm at, if I call the police, I should see black folks. Mm-hmm. I should see black folks. Because when you call the police in the Chinese area, the Chinese police gonna show up. Mm-hmm. When you call the police in the Latino area, the Latino police gonna show up.
I will call you after the broadcast.
The numbers of us going to jail.
You believe that would help? You believe
patrolling our community.
So you believe that would decrease the power of the code of silence? You believe that would decrease?
I think it would decrease it, and I also think that it would give us a better treatment as far as the police killing our youth, and pulling the trigger so fast. You know what I'm saying? And doing the things that they weren't supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Damn, this interview was turned almost 3 hours. But you know what? I would like to ask you, you know what, man? You know what? When a young boy goes to jail and the police talk to him without a lawyer and trick him into believing he's on your side, but it's a bad police on the other side acting like he's a good guy and a bad guy. How come when you first go in, you don't have access to a lawyer even before they talk to you? I would like to ask you that. And how do they trick you to think one is good and one is bad?
When we used to go to police in the 11th precinct, you used to get your ass whooped. I'm just gonna be honest with you. You know, I remember I was a young boy, man, 16 years old. We stole some cars from Morrow Cadillac, and we was riding through Jewtown with them. You know what I'm saying? And we got popped off, and they took us to the joint, and the police whooped my ass.
Yeah.
And I was plugged. So, you know, when I was coming out the cell, I hollered at one of the brothers. I said, "Hey, OG, they just whooped my ass, man. We got to do something." He said, "That's all right, young fella. I'm finna get my turn in a few minutes." You understand what I'm saying? Some things you just, it's just the way, that's just the way it is, man. That's just the way it is. You know, but you're doing crime. You out there doing crime, though. You know, you out there doing crime. You know, there's consequence for it.
You got a question down here, man. Mayor Lightfoot, I can't read him. Mayor Lightfoot, a.k.a. Beetlejuice, didn't know what she was getting into.
Right.
I can't read the last part. Can you read it?
Say Chicago is a gangster city. Yeah, we covered that.
No, okay.
Yeah, we covered that.
Okay. Oh, it's true. That's true. You know.
It is.
So can you say something, like I say, we're going to recap everything because we're going to end this very soon. Can you give us a recap on why?
Well, I just want to say,
why Larry Hoover, the leader of the Gangster Disciples, and Jeff Ford of the Peace Stone Nations and the El Rookers, why they should be released and would they be a betterment to society?
I take myself as an example, you know, because everybody has what they want to say, but I take myself as an example. I told you about the bad times that I had when I was a young guy, you know, and me doing wrong and doing, you know, dirt, as we used to say. But it was through the influence of these men who made me realize that I had been a detriment to society. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I was with a brother one day, and we was talking with Pops, and Pops asked him. Pops said, "What was you doing out there?" He said, "I was selling dope." And the man said, "You were selling dope?" Like, yeah. He said, "Well, you wasn't no good at that." He said, "Oh man, I was real good at that. I was doing this, I was doing that." And Pop said, "Yeah, but you got caught." You know what I'm saying? That indicates that you wasn't no good at it. You know what I'm saying? And the bottom line is that now that you know that you've done detriment out there in this world, and you've done bad out there in this world, and you influence individuals to do the wrong thing, now pick yourself up and go out there and change it. Go out there and put the same energy that you use to do the wrong and to do the detriment, go out there and do the good. So from there, using that mentality and using that understanding, now I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I got to build my own business. So we built the 501c3, you understand me? And now we put boys in college. You know, they go in and get educational opportunities through basketball programs. You know what I'm saying? We're doing things on a righteous level so that now you'll be able to see that we don't always have to pick up no gun and pick up no drugs. You can pick up a pen and pick up a skill. You know what I'm saying? And be just as good. And now you don't have to look over your shoulder no more. You don't have to do that. And that's what it's all about. That's why there was a from GD to growth and development. You understand me? Because you always start off like Humbergs and all the rest of them. Yeah, you may have started off like that, but there's no reason for grown men to continue like that. At some point, you know, I heard my brother Frosty Blue tell me one time, at some point, the bullshit has to stop. You know what I'm saying? And once you realize that it's wrong, then let's keep moving forward and do positive things.
Okay. Well, let me give myself a little plug, okay? My thing. I do a show called The Underground Railroad that comes on in Chicago every Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. Central Time for those that are bootlegging. And plus, we have a video production company called Shaymar Media Productions. And we want you to, if you can make a donation to the website to help our platform to get better than what it is. And all the people that did make donations already to my PayPal account, I promise you, this is the type of content that I am going to put out if it's Allah's will, you know. And brother, you got any finishing messages? And please give your contact information and, you know, anything you want to say. Yes.
That's it. I think we've been here for a long time, brother. We've been here for a long time. You know, and I think that finishing message, you know, from GD to Growth and Development, which is a book called Blueprint, written in 1981 by Ron Emery. That was the best thing that we could be speaking about. And the next thing, of course, is, like I said, support that Free My Father, Larry Hoover Enterprises. Get your information at LarryHooverJr.com. You understand me? And also, again, we got the concert, the benefit concert for Mr. Larry Hoover out in Los Angeles. Tickets go on sale in an hour. In an hour and a half, tickets go on sale.
Maybe maybe y'all give me a plug.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to gather up more people to my website and donations, because you know what, I'm trying to build, like you, I'm trying to build a platform. You know, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
That's it. And we, you know, together we can do it. We can make it happen.
Okay. Well, like I say, this is the last thing. I've been beating my drums all day. Y'all heard me before he came on, talking about they should let Larry Hoover and Jeff Ford out. Jeff Ford and Larry Hoover, whichever one you want out, you should let both of them out. And because I think that they would be not a detriment to the society. I think the society would benefit from it. And if it could stop one person from pulling the trigger and picking up a book and going to school.
That's right.
And elevating their intellectual mind to understand these gentlemen, with the will of Allah, they can change, not only save the person that's thinking about pulling the trigger, they can save another generation from their seeds. Right. And you know what? I want you to share this with somebody on your social media platform. I think I'm gonna have to break this up though, because I don't know if somebody gonna look this long.
Nah, they're not gonna look. They're not gonna look at it.
Not this long.
Like I'm not gonna be here for no 2 hours. I ain't doing that. I'm gonna have to break it up, brother.
I guess I had to break this up like half an hour or something like that. Well, brother.
Yeah.
You know what? This be the will of Allah. I hope, you know, if it's the will of Allah, I make Isha prayer, which is the last prayer for Muslims, which I should have made, but I ain't down here doing foolishness. And you know what? It's indeed an honor to get the opportunity to meet you and be Facebook friends with you and say hi to Gator. Gator might not even remember me.
We're gonna remember you.
And Red Ross.
Yeah.
I see Red Ross every Friday.
Okay.
But you know what, brother? He's
a stand-up guy.
Oh yeah, brother. He good, brother. As far as I'm concerned, you know. And Gator, tell him, Gator, you need to have me on this show.
That's right.
He ain't gonna listen. It's been almost 15 years, man. Okay. But
send him a text in a few minutes.
Yeah, all right. Well, brother, I hope that y'all, you know, will subscribe to the Underground Railroad website and go to his Facebook website. Okay. Do you got a YouTube website?
No.
Okay. I want y'all to go to his Facebook website and leave a message, you know, and hey, help. By helping him, you helping us. See, it's not about the individual. It's about a collective.
Right.
Okay. That's what it's about. Well, brother, told you I can run my mouth. You talk to me. It's all good. It's all good.
Take the opportunity of being on your show.
Okay, my brother. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, my brother.